What's up, YouTube? It's your favorite preservation evoker, Aerith, and I'm here today to talk about something that is actually very dear to my heart. And that is raid healing. I get asked a lot why my logs look so different from other people's logs. I've actually had people message me in game who found my logs on Warcraft logs and they're like, "Hey, why do your logs look different?" And so I figured I would make a video on it. I've kind of avoided making this video because it is still something that I am working on and something that I am weighing the pros and cons of. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is sort of my general playstyle in raid, some of the pros of it, some of the cons of it, and how you can use it to improve your own raid healing. Because I very much think that this playstyle has incredibly strong merits, and I think that it is something that every evoker should have in their toolkit, if it is not always the first thing they're reaching for. So without further ado, we got a lot of ground to cover. I'm gonna really quickly just jump straight into it. So let's head over to our VOD. So yeah, this is what you might see if you look up some of my logs. Is the Lifebind at the very top. On a lot of different polls, I'm doing just tons and tons and tons of Lifebind healing. Here was our Grim Totem kill. Here was our Taros kill. This was actually at the time rank 2 for all healers. And I think rank 2 for all evokers. But it was like very, very close at the time. I think now it's like dropped down just a little bit as gear has gone up and stuff. My Kurog kill, there were definitely some things that happened that made it some things go wrong. But I also thought the Lifebind sort of playstyle I've been going for was very strong here as well. But yeah, this is a common thread that you'll see in my logs at the moment, and that's that Lifebind is on top. I don't always think that what I'm doing is a disclaimer before we get into it. I don't always think that going for this Lifebind playstyle is the best thing you could be doing, but it is definitely a very powerful thing you can be doing. And I most 100% certainly think that there are moments in every single fight when setting up big Lifebind ramps is what you definitely should be doing as opposed to echoing lots of reversions. So I think that at the end of the day, the best way to play this class is something that is in a state of flux. And I'm very happy to be exploring and kind of going off the beaten path to look for other ways and to look for interesting techniques and stuff that I can incorporate into my own gameplay. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm just having a blast with the class right now. Like truly, I'm having so much fun with this class. Every single raid night is a total joy. I try different things. I've tried pretty much everything you can think of. I've given it a whirl at this point. Um, and yeah, so without further ado, let's kind of talk about what I'm doing. So these are the talents that I've been playing in raid presently. Um, and initially I was playing Grace Period, but I found that I wasn't actually echoing a lot of reversions when I was kind of going for the play style that I've been playing lately. And instead, I've been looking to exploit Lifebind, as you might have seen in the logs. So effectively, what I'm looking to do with this build is to spread lots and lots of echoes on the raid, and then Verdant Embrace the entire raid when we take a bunch of damage. And inside of that Lifebind window, um, do as much healing as I possibly can. So what that typically looks like is getting echoes on the full raid, burden embracing myself into a spirit bloom. And then off the back of that, if the raid is still unhealthy, using a lock rock. Or if they're very unhealthy still, using a health potion. And that is probably the most rare. This I don't usually spirit bloom and health potion. Sometimes I'll verdant embrace into a health potion. And yeah, it just does an absolutely monstrous amount of healing in those moments. And it is so fun to just watch people's health bars like go from being very little to suddenly bloop. I mean, it's basically just a DIY AoE lay on hands, build your own lay on hands. And this playstyle has been something that I have found to be just incredibly fun. I think that there are moments in every fight when being able to do this is critically important. Taros definitely comes to mind. I think that this, in general, like on Taros, the best thing you could be doing with most of your echoes is probably cashing them in for life binds and then or cashing them in for life bind buffs and then exploiting that life bind window. Um, so yeah, just to I kind of cover a little bit of how the potion transfer through Lifebind works in another video and how you can get 2 potion applications per raid member. I talk a little bit about it in Mythic Plus and how you can heal your whole Mythic Plus group with the health potion by giving everyone Lifebind and then popping the potion. And you can also do this to the entire raid. This is a very important thing to note. If you are inside of a Verdant Embrace window and you use a health potion right off the back of that echo, every single person in the entire raid is going to get 2 iterations of that health potion. Of course, reduced as the Lifeline talent says. It will be 40% of a health potion twice, and you will also get 2 iterations of refreshing mixture, which will also transfer through Lifebind. So it's just a crazy, crazy amount of healing that you can do. Um, and effectively, like I've been kind of going all in on this playstyle. I don't necessarily think that it's better than the unlimited hots playstyle. I do think that in moments in the fight, though, it is definitely what you should be doing instead of echoing lots of reversions. And I guess we can talk a little bit about that. Let's see here. So I have here a our Mythic Tarot skill brought up, and I just wanted to show you a little bit of some of what you can do with this Lifeline playstyle and with a Lifeline ramp. So pre-pull, of course, I'm spreading lots of echoes, and naturally we're going to cash those in for lots of reversions. I'm not going to get too deep into the playstyle in this particular build. For the class as a whole, I am going to be work on a raid guide. Um, but for the purposes of this video, I can go ahead and tell you how to set up your ramps. Basically, my standard opener every single pull is to get a lot of reversions onto the entire raid. I will then immediately go into a stasis, send out a temporal anomaly. Off the back of the temporal anomaly, I immediately cast a disintegrates. Um, and then a couple living flames or just a dream breath, as is the case here, another temporal anomaly. Most of the time I would put three in most cases I would put three temporal anomalies inside of your um stasis. In this particular case, I know that I'm sending my rewind early, and so I just want to get lots and lots of hots onto the raid. So we get the first mechanic. I get stuck on the other side, kind of awkward. Oh well. So here you'll see the first iteration of damage. Yeah, we're going to rewind here. And so we choose to release the stasis, cash in on all those echoes in order to get lots and lots of dream breaths. You can see the dream breaths all over the raid. And now here's where we get into like the actual life ramp. So we know the mythic mechanic is about to come out in 3 seconds. I have it as dust. I have a countdown set so that I will always hear it. And basically this is what your typical lifeline window looks like. This is what your typical Emerald Communion lifeline window looks like. So we're gonna get the mechanic. Everyone drops very, very low. I immediately Verdant Embrace, and I immediately go into an Emerald Communion. And what you'll see is that you actually just do a crazy, crazy, crazy amount of healing. I was frequently spiking the upwards of like 200 to 300k on our Terra's progression for this particular portion of the fights. Just doing so much healing with that first Emerald Communion ramp. Your Emerald Communion ramps are absolutely critical as evokers. It's something that everyone wants to have in their playbook. It just does so much healing. And just to reiterate on what we did, we got echoes on the entire raid. We by way of our stasis, which we had saved up all of those temporal anomalies. We released all the temporal anomalies. We kind of filled in some of the gaps with echoes. The damage happened. We Verdant Embraced, and then we cast Emerald Communion. And effectively with this playstyle, I was so intrigued by the Emerald Communion ramp and how much healing I was actually able to do inside of a lifeline window. Um, that at this point in my exploration of the class, I decided to start on a journey that has kind of led me where I am now, which is to be basically going all in on this sort of playstyle. Again, I don't necessarily know that going all in on this playstyle is the best thing you can be doing, but it's certainly a very powerful thing that you can be doing. And it is certainly something that I would advise everyone at least have in their playbook. Because there are definitely mechanics where you want to be exploiting you want to be exploiting a lifeline window as opposed to echoing lots of hots on people. And so that's what we're gonna see me do here. And for pretty much all of these pillar breaks. So we get the pillars. We know that when these all break, there's going to be massive raid damage. So I've gone ahead, I've ramped, I've set up for this. And the tank's going to get the mechanic, and our health bars drop. And you'll see me go Verdant Embrace into a Tip the Scales Spirit Bloom. And just do a ton of healing. It did overheal a decent amount here. But there are also times I think everyone else is like slamming their buttons. But there are times like when you're incredibly grateful for how much healing this particular style of ramp can do. And from that point forward, it's basically the same thing on repeat. Here I'm getting a little lost, kind of moving between melee and ranged. Is sort of the evoker way at times, and it can feel a little bit awkward. But yeah, I mean, you'll just basically see me do this on repeat, over and over. The pillars break, we vert and embrace, and we go for a spirit bloom. This was a smaller ramp. In an ideal world, you are setting up a very, very big, like raid wide ramp before you do the lifebind window, because of course it scales in just out absolutely wild way. But yeah, that's effectively what you're looking to be doing. Let's take a look at my Kurog kill. And don't worry, I am planning on making a full Taros guide and a full Kurog Grim Totem guide. Those are two of the trickier bosses. And I'm going to be talking about sort of the playstyle that I chose to incorporate there. And some of the strengths and weaknesses. On Taros, I think going for like a full Lifebind build and a full Lifebind sort of playstyle is a very, very strong thing to be doing. I feel a lot of conviction in this statement. I think it is um as strong or stronger than the unlimited hots build on this fight. And I think you should definitely give it a try. And see how it works for you, for sure. So here's our Kurog Grim Totem fight. Now on this fight, I actually think that cashing in a lot of your echoes for reversions is better in a lot of context, or for dream rats at times. It can be very, very, very contextual on what you want to be doing. Um, but I've been just on this kick, and I'm really, really enamored with this particular playstyle. So I chose to play it in the way that I chose to basically for science it and kind of just see like how this works out. And I've been speaking with some other theory crafters about it who also think that this is a really, really interesting and powerful strategy. So you'll see me do the same exact opener. We echo the whole entire party. We put reversions on the entire party. Our standard opener is to go stasis, temporal anomaly into an immediate disintegrate. Cast a few living flames. Just do some damage while we wait on a temporal anomaly to come back off. Disintegrate again. Do some more damage and cast another temporal anomaly. Here there's not a lot of raid damage, so you'll see me cash in these echoes for a dream breath. And then immediately release the stasis so that we start ramping again. Um, I do think that I put my Emerald Communion ramp at the wrong space on this particular pull. I was trying different places with it. You get 3 Emerald Communion ramps per fight on Kurog. As long as you're using the first one like within a reasonable amount of time into the fight, because it is a very long fight. I think maybe it's possible to get 4. How long was the fight? 9 minutes. If you send one on pull at 3 minutes, and you're probably not getting 4. You're probably just getting 3. So I would just structure those in kind of the best places you see fit. I think in P1, I was a little too quick on this particular pull to get my Emerald Communion on cooldown. You don't have to wait that long. The real limiting factor though is honestly your third ramp. Because you want it to line up in a very specific place. We're starting to get like off the beaten path a little bit. As I said, there will be a full Kuragrim Totem guide that is coming out soon, where I talk about the play style that I chose to play and how you can play it in the way that I did and be successful. Um, so yeah, here you'll see me go ahead and avert and embrace with all those echoes. So everybody's got lifelines. And off the back of that, we're gonna Emerald Communion and just do a lot of healing. Again, I don't think this first ramp is in the best place. But I think it was kind of fine. And we'll set up our dream breath. Probably a slight mistake to not cast the temporal anomaly before dream breath. With this build, you want to cast temporal anomaly literally off cooldown. Literally just off cooldown. And the way that you're able to do that is by playing this energy loop ability. It's going to give you an absolutely crazy amount of mana back over its duration. If you spend every single bit of essence on it on an energy loop boosted disintegrates, you're going to get a ton of mana back. And it's going to enable a lot of nonsense. You basically just never have to worry about you basically never have to worry about casting too many temporal anomalies when all of your essence is just going into giving you back mana. And if you watch, like, I pretty much cast it off cooldown on this fight, and I pretty much disintegrate whenever I have the mana to do so, and my mana is always healthy. Very, very nice. So yeah, just showing you kind of like the basic idea of what I do here. We take a big tick of damage, I Verdant Embrace. And I start casting a Spirit Bloom for that next tick of damage. And I mean, you just do so much healing. It's just actually wild. And then immediately start prepping for our next ramp. And basically that's what I'm doing. I'm ramping off cooldown. I'm getting out as many reversions as possible. We take a tick of damage, and I go Verdant Embrace. There it is, Verdant Embrace. We take another tick of damage, and I release a Spirit Bloom. And you pretty much just do this on repeat. Doing this, I've been able to get a ton of healing out. And it just feels incredibly potent. I mean, I've honestly just been loving this playstyle. There are definitely places where I think that this particular playstyle is not as strong in the Kurogrim Totem fight, namely the intermissions. And in the intermissions, I might have leaned a little bit too heavily into trying to exploit these lifeline windows. At times to my own detriment. Um, again, not a big deal. Was still doing a ton of healing in the intermissions, but I think I might have done even more healing if I had been echoing those onto either dream breaths or reversions. Probably reversions. Because of our tier set. So a couple of the cons of this particular playstyle are that it does not work well with our tier set. As I just started to mention. The echoing lots and lots of reversions does work very well with our tier set. It's also not technically as good against rot damage as echoing lots of hots is. Um, but I do tend to be doing just tons and tons and tons of healing. So it's hard to be too upset. I was frequently leaving this phase at around 140k. It's very good for P1 to play this way. I feel a lot of conviction in stating that I think this is a very strong, if not optimal, playstyle for P1. Um, and so yeah, we basically just kind of rinse and repeat from there. As I said, I will be getting into the nitty gritty and talking a lot more about these particular boss fights in depth very soon. I am planning a full guide for each boss whenever I'm able to get around to it. I'll probably go ahead and film the Grim Totem and the Tyros videos today and try and have those on YouTube. Hopefully at some point this weekend. Um, but yeah, definitely you should be looking to incorporate this into your playstyle. I'm not actually sure that this is the best thing you can possibly be doing. But it's definitely something incredibly strong that you want to be able to be doing. Um, and as I've said, I've had quite a few at this point. Rank one kills. I've had quite a few like rank twos. I'm doing a ton of healing. So yeah, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitch, where you can probably find me streaming right now. I am pretty much always streaming because I love this game. Yeah. Uh, with that said, I hope that I will see you all very soon. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment on the video, tell me what you think about this. How does it stack up to the Unlimited Hots video? Is this something that's worth doing? Let me know how you feel. I love you guys, and I will see you soon. Bye.